Um, and I just want to kind of check in real quick to make sure that I got everybody in case you have to watch the recorded version later. I missed the following people I don't think are here. So if you are here, let me know. Natalie Gage, Leo, Xavier, Gianna, Katie. Yep, May, I gotcha. Julian's coming back in. Okay, so Callie, I saw you. Is Katie here with you? I only see you.
He's not.
Okay, thank you. Just wanted to make sure. Let's see, I don't see Michaela or Marissa, Trenton, Ian, Wyatt. Oh, Karma, I did see Karma. Carla, Phoenix, Kaio, Jackson Guerin, Wayne, Colin, Indigo, Jordan LaForce, Natalie. Oh, that's Natalie Neely and Natalie Alberigi. I don't see either of them. Let's see, Spells, and then Selena are all people that I don't see. Did I miss you? All right. So just a quick reminder that if you are not able to make it to the live session, it's not the end of the world. Hopefully the recording works this week. It unfortunately didn't work last week, and so you'll be able to watch the recorded version later. I do want you guys to watch it if you are not here for the live version. So if you watch the recorded version, I will have a Google form that'll be a real easy way for you just to fill it out and say, yes, I got to see it. I'm supposed to, on Mondays every week, I have to mark attendance. And the attendance is that I somehow had communication with you at some point. So if you're here in the Zoom meeting right now, you're good in terms of, you know, the attendance that I have to mark on Aries. If you watch the recorded version and fill out the Google form, you're good. Or if you send me, even if you just do the work for the week and you don't have any kind of check-in, otherwise, if you're sending me the work, that counts too. Or just any kind of email or message on Google Classroom, any of that counts for the check-in there. I wanted to remind you, I talked about this stuff last week too, but because last week's didn't record, I'll just kind of reiterate some of the stuff that I have up there on the board. Remember that your grade can't go down, but it can go up. So everything that you turn in, I'm making sure that you get 100% on it, so it does make your grade go up. If you turn something in that's incomplete, I'll return it to you to finish. And I won't put a grade in until it is complete and you get full credit on it, so it makes your grade go up. And if you turn something in that's not correct, I might return it to you to fix it. I will give you partial credit on it if you have mistakes and ask you to fix those mistakes and then resubmit it once it's fixed. Keep in mind that the notes are due before we have this Zoom meeting on Wednesday mornings. The practice assignment is due by the end of the day on Wednesdays. And I will always post the solutions on Thursday, so after it's due, but that way if there was something that I returned to you that I want you to fix, or if there was something you didn't finish because you didn't understand it, hopefully seeing that solution will help you to understand it. So keep that in mind. Office hours are posted up there too, every day after school at 2 o'clock, except on Wednesdays like today it'll be at 3 o'clock. So if you do need any help outside of what we talk about in this Zoom meeting right now, you know, you can come back at 3 o'clock today to get some help on it so you can complete that assignment. So let's see, that's kind of the main gist of important stuff that I wanted to remind you guys about. So thank you to those of you that did turn in the completed notes already. Good job for doing that on time. If you haven't done it yet, make sure you do that soon. If you guys haven't figured it out yet, there is not a penalty for turning in late work, but you know, I like to have deadlines because I think it's important for you guys to try to meet those deadlines if you can. So, you know, if you can just kind of check in with me and let me know if you know you're not going to be able to meet a deadline, just by sending me a message right there in the Google Classroom assignment. that lets me know that you have been trying to. So I just want to make a quick comment real quick about the chat. You guys shouldn't be just kind of chatting around in the chat. If you have specific questions for me or for the class, that's fine. At the beginning of class, when nobody's doing anything, I don't mind if you guys do a little bit of chatter, but right now we shouldn't be talking about popcorn. Okay. So just a little note about that real quick. Let's see. So that's kind of general stuff with class. I am curious how you guys are feeling about it. I tried to make sure that it's not too much, that just watching the video, doing the notes, and then one assignment each week. I really hope that it's not too much for you, but I hope that you are getting something out of it because it is stuff that you will need not only for whatever math class you take next year, but also just for, you know, kind of helping keeping your brain growing and moving and doing things. And so, you know, thank you for those of you that are staying involved and participating and doing your best to keep up with things. And the office hours have been really helpful, I think, for the people that are showing up. If there's ever stuff that you're not sure about and you need help with it, you know, like I said, I not only have made myself available every day, but I enjoy getting to see you guys and help you every day too. So don't hesitate to come in there. They're not usually very busy. So if you do need help with anything, don't hesitate to come in and ask for some help there. So that's kind of it with general stuff. I thought I'd talk a little bit about this week's lesson. So this week's lesson is kind of a review of the radians that we talked about last week, but I wanted you guys to get a deeper look at it, so I found you know, like a pre-calculus version of radians, just to give you guys a better look at it. Next week we'll do a pre-calculus version of unit circle kind of stuff, because that is something that I want you guys to make sure you have a chance to look at again, maybe understand it a little bit better, because it is something that I think will be really helpful for you in your future. You know, maybe some more than others, but at any rate, let's see. Biggest thing to take away from this week's lesson, or just idea about radians, is that that pi radians is equal to 180 degrees, right? That pi equals 180 degrees. If you can remember that pi is 180 degrees, that's really, really helpful. In terms of the unit circle, you've got your initial side at 0 degrees, your terminal side at 180 degrees, just keeping in mind that that 0 radians and pi radians is the exact same thing, right? And then just like these 0 degrees, 90 degrees, 180 degrees, 270, and the 360 are all really important angles to remember. The same thing's true about the pi over 2, because that's half of pi, right? Would be the same as 90 degrees. Again, that pi is 180 degrees. That 3/2 of pi, or 1.5 pi, would be the same as the 270 degrees. And if you go around the circle, a whole way around the circle, you're doing that 180 twice, and so that's 2 pi. So keeping those in mind, that's really helpful. When you have to convert from radians to degrees or from degrees to radians, you're just using that idea that pi is 180 degrees. And so you're either multiplying by pi over 180 and canceling out common factors, or the reciprocal of that, multiplying by 180 over pi. And again, that's just depending on which direction you're going in terms of trying to change from radians to degrees or degrees to radians. So keep that in mind. And then the last thing I thought I would go over with you guys, the idea of the coterminal angles. I thought that would be something that would be the most tricky for you. So I thought I'd do one of those with you. So I'm going to share with you my document camera here. This one is the first problem on the back of the practice page. If you've looked at that already, then you can kind of see that. Okay. Jesse, remind me to come back to your question after I talk about this. Okay, so in terms of coterminal angles, coterminal angles are angles that end in the same position. Terminal meaning they end in the same position. So this angle here is showing it's pi over 4 radians from the x-axis. And so how many radians is it then to here? Well, we know to here it's pi, right? Half of the circle is pi. We know down to here is, you could say 3 pi over 2 or 3/2 of pi. We know all the way back around is 2 pi. Well, this is pi over 4 short of that, or you could think 1/4 less than 2, right? So I could even think 2 pi minus that pi over 4 to figure out what angle this red one here is, right? Because it's pi over 4 short of 2 pi. I'm going to get a common denominator here. They show you how to do that. So because I want my denominator to be 4, I'm going to multiply the 2 pi times 4 and make that 8 pi over 4 minus pi over 4. And some of you guys may have been able to do that in your head and figure out that that is a 7 pi over 4 angle. Okay, so that is coterminal with this angle here, which you could also call negative pi over 4, right? When it goes in the clockwise direction, that's a negative pi over 4 angle. So 7 pi over 4, negative pi over 4, those are both coterminal with each other. Here, when you're supposed to find all coterminal angles, you can take either of those. I'm going to take the positive one, the 7 pi over 4, and I'm going to add to that. Okay, if it's coterminal, that means it ends in the same place. So I could go around once to get to that, or I could go around once and then again to get to that. So 2 pi plus that, right? Because one full time around is 2 pi plus that same angle again. I could go around the 2 pi again. So each time just adding in another 2 pi. So that's that 2 pi times n. So you can, you're adding in the 2 pi any number of times. Okay, so that's the idea for finding all coterminal angles. Just thought I would review that the idea is you're just adding in this 2 pi n once you get one of those angles. Okay, so Jesse had a question, does it mean anything if a fraction has a pi sign in it? That usually means that that angle is being given to you in radians instead of in degrees. So for example, 45 degrees is pi over 4 radians. That pi over 4, I'll write this down. That pi over 4 is the same as 1/4 of pi. And that's just a way to express that's how many radians, your 1/4 of pi, which is half of the circle around radians. Jesse, do you feel like that answers your question? Okay, so let me check in then and see, does anybody else have any other kind of general questions about the lesson, the notes that you took, any questions about the assignment that you'd like to go over? How'd you guys do? I made sure I didn't give you guys the application and extension problems this week because I felt like it was enough. And because it's at a pre-calculus level, they're a little bit harder. If anybody's interested in having those, though, there are some more challenging problems, and I'd be happy to give those to you as more of a challenge. So you can just maybe send me a private message in the assignment itself if you'd like those challenge problems. I'm happy to do that for you. But I just didn't want everybody to feel like they needed to do them this week. So, that is my spiel for this week. That is the lesson for this week. I am going to have you guys, you know, kind of slowly but surely sign out. There's 36 of you guys in here right now. And if you have more questions, I'd like you to stick around. If you don't have any questions, if you would make sure I can see your face, and if you could then say goodbye. If your video isn't working, make sure you say, Ms. Grassel, this is so-and-so, and I'm leaving now, so that I get to basically so that I know that you're still here and that you're leaving. And plus I get to see you guys one last time before you go. So again, turn your video on, unmute yourself so that you can say goodbye, and then that'll light you up so that I can find you.
This is Jordan. Goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, Ms. Grassel.
Bye-bye. Good to see you guys.
Bye, Miss Grassel. Have a good day.
I don't have a mic, but
Bye.
Bye, Miss Grassel.
Bye, you guys.
Grassel.
Bye, Miss Grassel. Bye, Miss Grassel.
Bye.
Adios.
Adios.
Bye, Miss Grassel. My video's not
Bye.
working. But
Okay, thanks, Brooklyn.
Bye, Miss Grassel.
Bye, Miss
Miss
Grassel.
Grassel.
Bye.
Bye.
Sorry, I still don't have a camera.
That's
have a
Nate
microphone.
talking, right? I
Yeah.
got to Nate.
I got, yeah.
Bye, this is
Bye.
Jacob.
Yeah.
Adios.
Okay, thanks, Jacob.
Bye, Miss Grassel.
Bye, Christina.
Bye, Ms. Grassel.
Bye, Jesse.